back with a vengeance. The Advent war machine kicks into action, taking both the traders and their Vasari adversaries completely by surprise and forcing a new front on an already devastating intergalactic war. The Advent have a mind for conquest, but their approach to galactic domination is a more subtle affair than that of their rivals, making great use of psychological warfare, religious indoctrination, and a less than subtle use of powerful cyclic abilities in their conquest of new worlds. But the tip of the spear is the Advent's deadly fleet of high-tech warships, generally lightly armoured but heavily shielded and armed with a deadly mix of missile, beam, and Psi-Tech infused weapons systems. The Advent take their dedication to the Unity very seriously, and this is reflected in their battle doctrine too, where individual ship types synergize together in powerful ways to form a devastating combined arms force with an effective combat power much greater than the sum of its parts. The Advent playstyle is based on force composition and carefully timed active ability use, traits which amplify the strengths of even a relatively small or weak-looking fleet into a force capable of bringing down much larger groups. When this force projection is combined with the Advent's terrifying strategic warfare capabilities, this can form a 1-2 knockout combination and pry open even the most powerful enemy defences. Getting the best from the Advent does require a little more micro-level control than their rivals, but the rewards far outweigh this extra effort. The Advent Reborn's Right of Reclamation allows rapid derelict capture, and a starting Halcyon carrier is the perfect capital ship to make full use of the benefit it brings. The Halcyon is protected by PD lasers and strike craft, whose bombers can quickly clear the Guardian fleet surrounding derelicts with relatively little effort. The experience gained from the derelict for the crew alone is worth the effort, but this is also a great way to boost your early game resources and exotics count. If you've picked a Rapture battlecruiser instead, the Domination ability can rapidly capture guarding siege frigates, allowing a missionary vessel to quickly colonize the planet, while the Rapture immediately moves on to the next gravity well, with the rest of the guarding fleet picked off by your corvettes and frigates trailing behind. The Tempest vessel is an early game light missile frigate with a 360-degree firing arc, and the ability to fire on the move. This means the Tempest is excellent for chasing down damaged ships in retreat and finishing them off for good, and can itself retreat from harm's way while still hammering its pursuers with a barrage of light missiles. It can fire and maneuver around enemy ships with fixed firing arcs, such as light frigates or slower turning capital ships, neatly avoiding damage in the process. The Iconius Guardian's shield projection ability boosts the shields of nearby friendly ships, and this synergizes very nicely with the Advent's other shield boosting and restoring technologies, such as the Temple of Renewal's recharge shields, the Progenitor Mothership's shield regeneration, and Advent Rebirth's Unity ability Cleanse. The Advent look fragile, but can tank incredible amounts of damage, and an unwitting fleet can often find themselves ground down over time, as they fail to inflict any real damage over a fleet with enough Iconius support. If your enemy is fielding heavy cruisers or other high-value non-capital ship forces, the Dominus Subjugator can become a worthwhile investment. For just 8 supply points, one Dominer using its suppression ability can overpower and temporarily deactivate cruisers worth much more. While suppression has a rather high antimatter cost, pairing it with the Revelation battlecruiser's guidance ability or the Acolyte corvette with its antimatter projection can greatly enhance its performance and ensure the Advent always outclass their foes. The Advent have another tool for killing heavy cruisers too. The Exora Illuminator is a mainstay of any Advent fleet. While it only very loosely fits the heavy cruiser role, the Exoria fields devastating dedicated long-range heavy and medium beam weapons, and is well suited to taking down most enemy ship types up to and including capital ships, starbases and titans. You'll need to close range with other cruisers and capital ships and engage with their side-facing hardpoints if you want to maximise their damage output, and this can put them in some danger. But encircling a big stack of heavy cruisers with Exoria Illuminators will eliminate them rather efficiently. The Advent Reborn's Recall Unity ability is effective for hit-and-run warfare tactics. Engage a high-value target and fire off your strongest attacks, such as a capital ship's ultimate ability, and then rapidly retreat before reciprocal damage is done. Stealing enemy cruisers using the Rapture battlecruiser's mind control or pirate boarding crew ship items is another sneaky option. The Radiance battlecruiser's Animosity ability can be used to prevent damaged enemy ships retreating from a gravity well, being forced to turn back and engage a deadly capital ship and attendant fleet instead. This can be particularly useful against the Vasari, who love to jump in with smaller fleets, engage with their phase resonance abilities, and jump out again before too much damage is taken. Animosity is an appropriate punishment for such impudent tactics. If you're fielding several Halcyon carriers, you can stagger the activation of the telekinetic push ability to create a powerful and continuous screen against enemy missiles and strike craft. Set the ability to manual cast and then activate it, immediately setting it to auto cast mode afterwards. Then, switch to the next ship and repeat this process. With a 15-second duration and only a 30-second cooldown, this spells doom for enemy missiles and strike craft in the area with just 2 Halcyon carriers, and with antimatter boosting support ships, this effect can be repeated for a long time. Fielding 3 to 5 Radiance battleships can completely lock down an enemy Titan with detonate antimatter abilities, cycling through each Radiance while benefiting from a passive antimatter depletion effect too. This can be a little tricky to do, so assigning your battleships to a control group for the first cast and then switching over to autocast immediately afterwards can set this up as an automated action, allowing you to take that Titan down a little easier. The Advent Wrath have several vectors to convert and steal enemy ships using their Dominate ability. The Temple of Assimilation planet item, the Deliverance engine and its Dominating Deliverance, and the Coronata Titan's Subjugation ability all use Dominating Chance to repeatedly attempt to steal enemy ships. This can increase your total supply beyond the usual limits, and every loss for the enemy is a gain for the Advent, often providing functionality and abilities usually exclusive to the traders or the Vasari in the process. A win-win situation. The Coronata Titan is a devastating tool available to Advent Reborn players, and has a rather unique ability called Repossession, allowing the Coronata to instantly convert an entire colony over to the will of the Unity. This is not a damage-based effect, and thus the damage negation effect from planetary shields are ignored. If the game is set to eliminate a player once their homeworld is lost, a Coronata Titan and its ability to instantly steal the game will become a terrifying threat that cannot be ignored. If you see one making a beeline for your homeworld, do all you can to stop it, no matter the cost. The Advent Wrath's mighty Eradicate Titan outputs a huge amount of firepower, and its damage per second rate is increased with the excellent passive ability Strength of the Fallen, which draws power from fallen comrades. An unscrupulous Advent commander could send a dozen cheap corvettes into the afterlife before their time, either through combat or scuttling, and draw their life force into the Eradicate to increase its DPS even more. This would empower your Titan with a destructive force enough to overcome overwhelming odds and win the day, justifying your sacrifice for the greater good of the Unity. Finally, the Eradicate Titan's ultimate ability is Unyielding Will. The more damage it takes, the more rapidly it regenerates antimatter and its ability uses. A brave Advent Reborn player can actively throw this Titan into a pitched battle with just a little support, and watch as its overall destructive power increases as it takes more and more damage. It will require all the Sci-Tech upgrades you can muster to fully reach its true potential, and make sure to grab ship items like the Psionic Dynamo and Vex Amplifier, then watch those enemy fleets melt under a withering barrage. The Advent are a force to be reckoned with, engaging in battle with meticulously crafted fleets that may not seem formidable to the untrained eye, yet harbour a concealed and terrifying strength. This power is unleashed through the strategic application of their diverse abilities, revealing their true potential in combat. Woe betide those who stand against the Unity. Once again, we encourage you to take these ideas and use them to inform your own overpowering strategies in Sins of a Solar Empire 2.